A Typhoon FGR4 flies over Iraq on 22 December 2015. Operation Shader is the operational code name given to the British participation in the ongoing military intervention against the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. The operation began in Iraq on 26 September 2014, following a formal request for assistance by the Iraqi government. Prior to this, the Royal Air Force had been engaged in a humanitarian relief effort over Mount Sinjar, which involved multiple aid airdrops by transport aircraft, and the airlifting of displaced refugees. By 21 October 2014, the intervention had extended onto Syria, with the Royal Air Force only mandated to conduct surveillance flights over the country. On 2 December 2015, the House of Commons approved British airstrikes against ISIL in Syria. The UK is one of several countries directly involved in the ongoing Syrian conflict that started in March 2011. In March 2016, the Ministry of Defence announced that over 1,000 personnel were engaged in theatre, and that the Royal Air Force had conducted a total of 640 airstrikes, flying over 2,200 sorties, killing almost 1,000 ISIL fighters. On 9 August 2014, following the genocidal persecution of minorities in northern Iraq, the British government deployed the Royal Air Force to conduct humanitarian aid airdrops. The first airdrop was conducted on 9 August, with two Lockheed C-130 Hercules aircraft flying from RAF Akrotiri, airdropping bundles of aid into Mount Sinjar. A second airdrop commenced on 12 August 2014, but had to be aborted due to a perceived risk of injury to civilians. The airdrops were able to resume within 24 hours, and two large consignments of aid were airdropped over Mount Sinjar. During the same day, the Ministry of Defence announced the deployment of the Navy Tornado GR.4 strike aircraft to help coordinate the airdrops using their Lightning III reconnaissance pods. They were not authorized to conduct any airstrikes prior to parliamentary approval. 4 Boeing Chinook transport helicopters were also deployed alongside them to participate in any required refugee rescue missions. On 13 August 2014, 2 Hercules aircraft dropped a third round of humanitarian aid into Mount Sinjar. This was followed by a fourth and final round on 14 August. Bringing the total number of humanitarian aid airdrops conducted by the RAF to 7. The UK suspended its humanitarian aid airdrops on 14 August 2014, citing the improved humanitarian situation in Mount Sinjar. On 16 August 2014, following the suspension of humanitarian aid airdrops, the Royal Air Force began shifting its focus from humanitarian relief to reconnaissance. The Tornado GR4s, which were previously used to help coordinate humanitarian aid airdrops, were tasked to gather vital intelligence for anti-ISIL forces. The Ministry of Defence also confirmed that an Boeing RC-135W Rivet Joint Signals Intelligence aircraft had been deployed over the country on what was its first operational deployment since entering service. The aircraft was based at RAF Al-Udeid in Qatar alongside US Rivet Joint and Boeing KC-135 Stratotanker tanker aircraft. In addition to Tornado and Rivet Joint, the Royal Air Force also deployed Reaper, Raytheon Sentinel, Beechcraft Shadow and Boeing Sentry E.1 aircraft to fly surveillance missions over Iraq and Syria. As of 26 September 2015, the United Kingdom had flown a third of all coalition surveillance flights over Iraq and Syria. By 26 November 2015, the Tornado GR4's Raptor reconnaissance pod had gathered 60% of the coalition's entire tactical reconnaissance in Iraq. A Voyager tanker refuels 2 Tornado GR4s over Iraq on 4 March 2015. A Tornado GR4 returns to RAF Akrotiri after the first airstrikes on 30 September 2014. A Tornado GR4 destroys an ISIS armoured vehicle in Al-Qaim on 2 November 2014. On 2 September 2014, ISIL released a video threatening to behead British citizen David Haines. Prime Minister David Cameron reacted by saying that ISIL would be squeezed out of existence.